Well, infrastructure, another important topic that's been getting a lot of attention lately. And last month, the American Society of Civil Engineers released their grade for the state of the infrastructure in the United States. And the survey says D+.
Ouch.
Wow, that's rather unimpressive. I mean, it looks like our President Trump is right in that we need to throw maybe $1 trillion or so at the problem.
California is probably more like an F.
Oh my gosh, D+. Well, it actually gets a little worse than that, because if you look at the ASCE report card, you'll see that there's individual grades for the various elements that make up American infrastructure. For example, personally, I found it shocking, maybe not so shocking, maybe not so surprising, that our drinking water systems were allocated a D grade. That's even worse than the infrastructure as a whole. Right. A D grade, think about that. For many of you engineers out there probably never got a D grade in your life. Some of us English students did. But no, a D grade, I mean, you think about that. I mean, a D grade for our drinking water. I mean, is this the United States or is this Angola? I mean, what is this? I mean, consider our poor fellow citizens in Flint, Michigan. They've surely been wondering over the past years if they live in a first or a third world country. Yeah, they've got an F minus. For their drinking water. I mean, drinking water, it's essential. I mean, of course, obviously, this is obvious. It's essential to a healthy citizenry, but access to clean water is also of critical importance in many manufacturing places. And a D grade for this vital resource, it's just unacceptable. You know, I mean, it's such a vital part of what we do and what we need to have in this country. Well, the National Association of Manufacturers is addressing this issue head on. Recently, NAM met with President Trump. You may have recalled that in the news, and they expressed their support for his campaign commitments to infrastructure spending. NAM underscored these recommendations in their Building to Win blueprint, which was released right around the same time as the ASCE report card. In the NAM blueprint, they suggest the following budgetary allocations to U.S. infrastructure, and this is interesting to see how they break this out. $629 billion for highways is what they recommend, $112 billion for bridges, $75 billion for aviation, $15 billion for ports and inland waterways, $86 billion for public transportation, and $52 billion for passenger and freight rail. So if you add all that up,
so like about $1 trillion.
It's just about $1 trillion. And what a coincidence. That's what Trump said he wants, and infrastructure spending is $1 billion. Now,
it's amazing how those numbers just kind of
it's amazing how the NAM people just
said, yeah,
without any influence.
I think we need about $1 trillion.
Well, you know, line items, you know how these things go. $1 billion here and there, pretty soon you're talking about real money. Well, some would ask if all that is necessary or if we can even really afford it as a nation, but that $1 trillion investment would really only bring us partially back to the levels of infrastructure investment in the past. NAM's Building to Win blueprint, again, offers us the following chart. I want to show this to you because I think it's really interesting. And it shows the public and private investment in infrastructure since 1970. And the chart's right there. As you can see, the light blue shaded area represents private capital investments, and the dark blue shaded area represents public capital investments. And both are down significantly from, again, this is 1970 to 2012. And you can see it's down significantly over that period of time as a percentage of potential GDP. The moral of the story is that funds are very much needed. And according to NAM, those needed funds are going to greatly benefit industry, not to mention people. We'll have to keep our eyes on the budget battles up in Washington going on right now to see if the money actually ends up being allocated or not. But we really hope to see some movement here at some point this year. I mean, it's a critical issue. I mean,
wow.
$1 trillion.
So it's like half. Looking at that chart, it looks like about half.
About half of it now
GDP right now versus
1970.
Oh man.
Now that's not $1 trillion, but as a percentage of the GDP,
you're right. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, right.
And I mean that's a huge decrease. And I mean, there's not going to be $1 trillion allocated.
No.
There's no bloody way. But there should be some.
Yeah.
There should be some because it's a crying need. And the water thing in particular jumped out at me as being just an egregious example of that.